was actually reading this book by my friend Bobby Cohen. It's called Perfect Questions and Perfect Answers, a Divine Dialogue. And it's very interesting, like how, his guru answered some of these questions here. Highly recommended. I'm not here featuring promoting my book, but my friend Bob Cohen. Anyhow, so I'm channeling from Benito's in South Beach, and basically like what's coming to my head right now that it's been on like for the last few days is this idea that everything that you see in your screen is a mirror, right? Like trying to understand the matrix that we are all like entangled, this so-called simulation or matrix or reality. Like which one is reality really? Like the matrix, the simulation, or real reality? I guess this is something that we all try to figure out within, and understanding like from which place we are making decisions and how the results that we get, the feedback we get outside depends also on how we make these decisions in the inside. But like thinking of life as a mirror, I don't know about you, but I just like start to realize that every single person we meet has something interesting to show about ourselves or about somebody else who we might have had a relationship with in the past. For example, maybe you had a best friend in your childhood. For the time you both stayed in a great relationship, everything was perfect. And later on, things didn't go well. So what happened? You were left alone. And years later, you met someone who reminds you of this person. And you think you're beginning a new relationship with this person, but in reality, you are continuing a relationship with this new person, which is serving as a reflection of that person who you had a relationship with, that you never finished that relationship. That relationship basically stayed open. Like when you start something, you don't close it, it stays there, and things continue to loop around until there's like something called a conclusion. Like when there's a conclusion, a completion, whether that is through a lesson or through an act of forgiveness or an act of I let go or an act of like I release it. That's why we say all the time let go. Let go simply means letting go. Like I don't want to be in this, like I don't want to continue emanating energy and receiving it from you, because for the time you are sending and you're receiving, if that is not healthy or in harmony to the highest good of everyone, then there's chaos. And we don't want that. The universe wants continuous positive flow of abundance emanating from both ends, from one side to another, because we are all one. We are all influenced by each other in many different ways. So when you meet that aspect of someone, like I said, that you begin to feel different things and you think you're thinking, and you start to project onto that other person, but in reality it's just an aspect of yourself that this person is serving as a mirror to show you. That's kind of mind-blowing, because like even though I feel like I get that, like when I'm actually in action and I begin to like feel or sense like this patterns or aspects of somebody else in the other person, or actually of myself in somebody else, to me it feels like I want to give in or give up. It feels like there's like that wall that is basically like stopping me from like continuing to learn what I need to learn from that person. And then I don't know, it just feels like it's a waste of time. But later on I realized like, oh, that's what it was there for me, and that means I didn't complete it, which means I might meet that aspect of myself again in a different timeline or in the same timeline, and the same patterns might occur because I did not quite fully understand the lesson before. But now that I have this understanding and I have that will, like I'm willing to understand and essentially like release both parties, right? Me and that aspect I'm in relationship with. How do I go about this? Is there like a sort of like act that I can simply like do to just say, you know, it's completed, I've learned it, I recognize my failures through the process in this relationship. I realized that I could have done better. I realized there are things I have to work on. Do I just give it a second chance to that aspect of me and somebody else to really like be in harmony with me by, you know, using that aspect, like trying to teach that aspect to something, and understand that I'm calling aspect, but in reality it's the person. But you think you are in a relationship with that person, but it is with the aspect. And that's what it's essentially like, pulling both of you together. Like, you know what I mean? There are many times where you are in a relationship with someone and you're just like going with that flow, doing things that you don't really know why you're doing it until you realize that it's just the aspect of that person that is pulling both of you. So like, just as two magnets, they're pulled together. There's like one thing in you that I see that I need to fully understand, that I haven't quite understood yet, and there's the aspect in me that you need to understand as well. And we're both just playing and just like going in back and forth trying to realize what that is until the lessons learned. And you know, like right now in your life, I want you to look around all the relationships you have. Like look at your WhatsApp, everybody who's been talking to you, just like nonsense conversations, like you going back and forth through like thoughts, just like, oh, I'm eating this now, oh, I just did this. It's just like nonsense. There's no real depth or meaning in that relationship, but in reality there is like that aspect that is been pulling both of you together. And when you both realize what that is, the relationship either like up levels, like it goes to a higher level, or it falls apart. It's usually how it goes. That's why sometimes you're like, oh, I was talking to this person and we're no longer friends anymore. Because we both realized what that was, and there was either correction there, or release, redeem, deliverance, or maybe there was nothing really that was pulling both of you together. I mean, actually, that will never be the case. If you both were in a relationship, there was, like, have you heard that phrase, like, everything has a reason? Like, it's just very shallow, right? Like, oh, everything has a reason. Like, in reality, there's logic into it, right? And numbers, and understanding, like, the quantum physical world, and understanding, like, everything that goes behind the screens is just too complex for the rational mind, or for someone who is just not ready to dive deeper into this kind of topic. But I think I've shared quite a lot here, and I hope that has served you somehow and made you realize that, yeah, life is a mirror. Everyone we met before in this lifetime was also a mirror, and you're gonna continue to see things in you through other people, through conversations, through images, and it's all you. And the goal is to be in harmony with this. If you can't really love it, at least be in harmony with it. That's the goal. I mean, you either wanna you ultimately are left with two choices: to be more with yourself, or to be in peace with yourself. And what a better way to experience life than be in peace with all elements of you.